Hello YouTube, Dave here again. It's been a little while, I think, since the last time I did a pickups video, so I thought it'd be fun to just, do another one now. I've actually been able to add quite a few things to my various collections over the last few months, I guess basically since probably about the middle of summer, whenever the last video was that I did. So just going to go through everything that I've added, and first up, what I'm just going to do is show some things that I've already done videos on, but I do like to sort of have a record of, approximately when I got some of these things added. So the first thing we'll do is just go through the first three things I have here. Like I said, I've already done videos on, but up first we have the Starfinder Tech Terrain Pawn set. And this was just a really awesome product, and something that I hope to see more and more of. I did a video opening it up as well as showing some of the tiles in use. So some of them you just sort of lay down flat, other ones you can put in a base and they'll stand up. So really cool stuff. And even though unfortunately I won't be able to run my monthly Starfinder game this month for the month of October, just due to things like in Canada we have Thanksgiving in October instead of November, when it takes place in the States. So ours is a month ahead. And I also have HellCon, so gaming convention, comic, gaming, cosplay, all that stuff convention coming up at the end of the month. So it really limits the amount of time I have to run things. So unfortunately I won't be running Starfinder, my regular game, but I will be running a Starfinder game, hopefully at the convention itself, so I can make use of these there, because they're just, like I said, they're just that cool. So just sort of set that off in the background. The next thing, alright, up next we have the Descent into Avernus dice and miscellany set. So I did a video opening this up as well, and this is just a really awesome product, and well worth the money in my opinion. So some great little extras and stuff that are thrown in there. Just enough nice little bonuses that it really not only justifies the price, but it makes you feel like you're getting your money's worth out of it. So really cool stuff there. And to go along with the dice set, we have the Descent into Avernus adventure book. I still have a review planned for this. I honestly just haven't had a lot of time to really spend looking through it, with the regular games that I'm running, as well as getting ready for like the HalCon convention and everything. So it is going to be a little bit late, but I still have a review of this hopefully coming out in the next couple of weeks. But really interested in this adventure so far, and actually really liking it so far. Alright, so up next, let's get to the things that I haven't already done videos on. So first I actually have some comics here. I actually honestly don't remember how long ago it was that I got the first issue of this series, but I have issues 2 and 3 of A Darkened Wish. And I wasn't really keen on the story in the first issue. I honestly wasn't really hooked into it. So when a few months went by and none of the other copies landed in my comic account, I honestly wasn't that bothered by it. But I did see issue 2 in store there a couple weeks ago and decided to pick it up. And issue 3 came out shortly thereafter. So, and it does get a lot more interesting. Issue 3 in particular is my favorite of the story arc so far. The first couple issues bounce back and forth between current and like the past times, so it can be a little bit to wrap your head around when you're trying to follow the story. But like I said, from issue 3, it all seems to be taking place within the one timeline. Really cool. Really liking the issue 3 is basically what makes me want to get the rest of the story. So really cool stuff there. Speaking of D&D related comics, I also picked up issue 1 of chapter 2 of the Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons. The titled Painscape. It's got like the mocking the 5th edition monster manual there, but we got Beholder Rick, even though he's got the two eyes instead of just the one in the center. Still pretty cool. Again, I wasn't quite interested in this one at first, one of the first few pages, but I got more interested as we got further and further in the comics. So really cool. So I'll probably pick up all the issues for this and then eventually get the trade where they combine them all together. I have a friend who's also a really big Rick and Morty fan and also really into Dungeons and Dragons. So I just give the comics to him and keep the trade for myself when it comes out. And I've done that with other things in the past. I know it's sort of counterproductive to buy the issues and then buy the combined thing, but I like having just the one volume. And again, I know people who are interested in the other stuff, so it's cool to be able to give that stuff to someone who's going to appreciate it. Alright, up next we have something that I was going to open on camera when it arrived, but it arrived so early, way ahead of when I was expecting it to, that I just didn't know what was in there. So I opened it up off camera and everything, because like I said, I just had no idea what it was. But what this is the print-on-demand hardcover version of the 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Night Below Underdark campaign set. So this was originally a box set back in the days of 2nd edition AD&D, but if you get the print-on-demand version, and they've done this I think with a couple of their sets, some of the box sets have the option for paperback, like softcover or hardcover, and the hardcover price was only a couple dollars more, I think, so I went for the hardcover. I do actually want to run a 2nd edition AD&D campaign, and this will probably be the one that I go with when the opportunity finally does arrive. I love the Underdark, and it'd just be really cool to get a chance to run this. So really looking forward to giving that a try. And like I said, it's just the print-on-demand version. It combines all the booklets from the box set into one, and you get quite a bit of, like, it's pretty hefty. You also get like the maps and stuff. The maps are broken down into individual pages though, so if you wanted to print off the maps, the best thing to do would be to combo it with the PDF. And again, I think it's only a couple of dollars extra to bundle the PDF and the print copy, and then you can take the PDF down to your local print shop, and wherever you can go, like Staples and stuff has like printers you can access, and you can just print off the maps there, and then you can just combine them together if you want. So anyway, really cool though. Really happy to have this, and I was actually able to get this with just credit built up on my account from affiliate sales. So for all the people that have clicked on my affiliate link and gone to either DM's Guild or Drive Through RPG, I just really want to thank you for that, because it makes a huge difference. And like I said, it doesn't cost anyone to do it. Basically, if they click on my link and they order something over the course of the next like 2 weeks, I think it is, then I get a percentage, but the consumer doesn't pay any extra, which is really cool. So again, thank you to anyone who's supported the channel that way. Alright, up next we have a couple of miniatures to add to the collection. So the first one is a Nolzar's Marvelous Miniatures product, and this is the gazers, the little eyeball beholders down here, and a spectator beholder kin. So beholders are my all-time favorite monster, and anything involving them is something that I want to have. So this is just really cool. It comes with two of the little gazer beholders, and then it's got the bigger spectator. Just really awesome stuff. Really happy to add that to the collection, because like I said, anything beholder related, I'm there. Up next, the other miniature that I've added to my collection is from Gale Force 9. This is part of their collector series, and this is Manshun. So Manchun was always a very interesting NPC for me when I started getting the Forgotten Realms books for 3rd edition D&D, because he, just like the idea of this archmage that, you know, made dozens of clones of himself in the event that something happened to him, but then something goes horribly awry and all the clones awaken at the same time, and led to what's, you know, referred to as the Manchun Wars, I think it was called. Yeah, the Manchun Wars. It even gives a little bit of information on the back here. So this, again, is something that will probably just be sealed as a collector's item. I have the Jarlaxle mini as well. So really, really happy to add this again. Like I said, I love Manchun, one of my favorite villainous NPCs. As cool to have a mini of them. Alright, up next we have another Starfinder product, so I didn't quite organize this as well as I thought I did. But this is the brand new Starfinder Starliner Flipmat. And if you follow this channel for the last couple of years, you will know that I love these flipmats that Paizo puts out. So this is like for the luxury Starliner. So if you're on like this luxury cruise ship sort of thing, you can use this. Just really, really cool. And the thing that I actually like about this part of the map is that it's while it's designed for this like Starliner, it's generic enough that you could use it for just about anything. So that's really, really cool. This, you see a little bit of the space there. So this one, the other side is clearly more meant as like to let you know that you're in a ship. But just really, really cool stuff. And again, I love these maps. So looking forward to trying to find a way to get to use that. And again, they're just so great for even sparking an idea that you can use for an adventure. So really, really great stuff there. And then we have some Pathfinder stuff. So up first is part 2 of the 6-part Age of Ashes adventure path. This is Cult of Cinders. I'm actually currently running the Age of Ashes story for my 2nd edition Pathfinder game that I'm running, the monthly game that I'm running. So the players are about a third of the way, I think, through that one almost by now. But what's really, really cool or awesome about this is I'm used to the Starfinder adventure path. So the 6-part ones usually take the players from 1st up to about 13th level. The Age of Ashes adventure path actually goes all the way to 20, and that might be the norm for the Pathfinder game. But this is my first Pathfinder adventure path that I'm picking up, so it's for me, it's awesome to have you know, a campaign that I can run through the entirety of the character's progression. So really, really, I think I'm using the word really a bit too much, but I'm looking forward to running the rest of this path. The players are really enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying it so far. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to go through. So this is part 2. I think part 3 is also already out. I just haven't picked it up yet. Alright, we also have a Pathfinder Flipmat, but this is a multi-pack. So this is the Pathfinder Ambush Sites multi-pack. And if you look on the back here, it just has 4 different locations that you can use for, well, ambush sites. This one here I actually think will be really useful when I go to run my Dragon Age RPG at Halcon, because it's going to take place in a city and there's sort of an ambushy type encounter that I do have set up. So I think I'm actually going to get some use out of that one right away, but these maps are all, again, really, really nice. And I'll do a proper video of them at some point in the very near future, but can never have enough of these. Okay, so continuing along with Pathfinder 2nd edition, I also picked up a copy of the Lost Omens World Guide. So this is the campaign setting book for Pathfinder, and this one is basically just the world information, and it does have like some backgrounds and I think some archetypes, so some options that you can have to customize your character. This isn't the book that has the extra races or anything. That's going to be the player's guide, which comes out, I think, in November, I think is when that one comes out. But I'm really interested in this one because I don't know much about the Pathfinder setting. I never really bought the Pathfinder stuff. The only Pathfinder book that I have from first edition now is the core rulebook. A friend of mine, though, did lend me his copy of the Pathfinder Chronicles campaign setting book, but I haven't looked through it yet because I want to read through this and see if this book, combined with what's in the core rulebook, will give me all that I need to run a campaign and feel confident that I understand the world. Because I think that's important. I think that that's something that's really, really important, that the book be able to stand alone on its own and not rely on players necessarily having the original, because there's people like me that just never did. So I've been reading through it a little bit so far, and mostly just the first part with like Absalom and locations like that, and just really liking it so far. I will have a review video coming out hopefully very, very soon. And it has a map, a fold-out poster map. So, gotta love that. And to go along with Pathfinder 2nd Edition, I also picked up a copy of the Critical Hit deck. And I just love this box art because it's the rogue scoring a critical hit on the alchemical golem. You just like see the buggy eyes and the googly eyes sort of look. Just really, really cool stuff. And I will be doing a video for this as well. But we got the Critical Hit deck as well. So some awesome Pathfinder goodies. Alright, last couple things are actually going to be video game related. I'm a big fan of video games and collect not a lot of like retro stuff, just because it's way too cost prohibitive. But I do like talking about video games when I get the chance. So the first one that I want to show is the Switch version of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. So, which is actually currently in my Switch. That's why it's not in the case. But the original Link's Awakening was a Game Boy game released back in the early, I think it was 93, 94, then when it came out. And Link's Awakening was actually the first Zelda game that I played through from beginning to end all by myself. And I had A Link to the Past before getting Link's Awakening, but I had a friend who he and I would swap the controllers. We'd go through, and when one of us cleared a dungeon, we would switch, or if one of us died, we'd switch to the other player. So I never got to play that one all the way through on my own for the first time. But Link's Awakening was the first game that I actually did that with, and I always loved Link's Awakening. One of the things that influenced my decision to get a Nintendo 3DS was the fact that they had Link's Awakening available to download, and it was the DX version that was compatible with both the regular Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. And this version is actually based on that DX version, so it has the color dungeon where you can choose the red or blue tunic, and it also has a hero mode, which is actually pretty brutal. So I've seen people saying, well, the original game is just way too easy, and it is easy. It is an easy game if you're playing through on just the normal mode. But the hero mode removes all the hearts that you would find by cutting grass or digging or killing enemies. You don't get fairies for killing dungeon mid-bosses anymore. The only way to heal is with a bottled fairy, which they added bottles to this game. Is a bottled fairy to have the ointment or to collect a piece of heart or a heart container. Those are the only ways to heal. And you also take double damage, so it's really easy to die. I made it through the regular version of the game, start to finish, and I think I don't think I died at all. If I did, it was maybe once. Actually, yes, it was once because I thought the bottled fairies would be automatic, and they weren't. You actually have to activate them. So I did die once, but that was sort of my own fault for not understanding how the fairies worked, the bottled fairies. But the hard mode is brutal. I died, I think, 3 times so far, and I'm only in the second dungeon. I think I just finished the second dungeon. But really, really awesome stuff. It also comes with a dungeon editor sort of thing, and it's not quite as open as Mario Maker. But what you do is when you beat a dungeon, you get access to some of the dungeon's rooms, and you visit Dampe, who's here, and he will have a series of challenges that you go through where you arrange the dungeon rooms how you want. And what's really cool is that it completely mimics the puzzles. So if there's a room that you go into that a chest will appear if you kill all the enemies, then that will happen automatically. There's like you don't have to try to program that stuff in; it just happens. If you have to light torches to open a door, that'll do that. If you have to kill the monsters to open the door, it'll do that. If you have to find a switch to open the door, it just copies the exact room and the exact puzzle that you have to go through. And it works really well. It's actually a lot of fun. I've done a few of them so far, and it's really really an interesting idea. The way that the treasure chests work is the first few chests will correspond to the number of locked doors in your dungeon in general. So if you have, say, 5 treasure chests in your dungeon and 2 locked doors, the first 2 chests that you come across are going to be keys for those locked doors. And then after that, any extra remaining chests will just be filled with rupees, except for whatever the last chest is in your dungeon. And that last chest will be the boss key. And it doesn't matter what order you open the chests in, it will always be like that last chest will be the boss key. So it actually forces exploration in your custom-made dungeons, which is really, really cool. And I think it's going to be a pretty obvious precursor to a Zelda Maker kind of idea. And I think they did a pretty good job with it. So if you have a Switch and you haven't picked this up yet, I do highly recommend getting it. All right, and then the last thing, excuse me for a second. I just had to have a drink of coffee. My throat was starting to get dry. The last thing I've actually picked up is the Sega Genesis mini console. So this is very similar to me in terms of like my familiarity with the games as the PlayStation Classic was, and I know that a lot of people hated the PlayStation Classic. I actually really like it, and I only paid $50 for it. If I waited a few more months, I could have gotten it for $40, but for the price I paid, I think it's a great little system. So a lot of them are still, very, very cheap to pick up. So, I would recommend it at the current prices for the PlayStation one. But this is another system that I just never played as a kid. I had a friend who had the Model 2 Genesis, and I think for like 2 or 3 weeks in grade 11, we swapped consoles. So I let him borrow my Super Nintendo with some games, and he let me borrow his Sega Genesis with some games. And it was interesting, but it was like Sonic 1 and 2 and like Terminator 2. And there might have been I don't know if Toe Jam and Earl was one of the games. But anyway, but there's just a lot of series here that I just never got a chance to try. And there's a lot of awesome games on here. Comes with 2 controllers, which is great. It has games that I was not expecting, like Castle of Illusion, which a lot of people say is one of the best Disney games made, and sort of one of those must-have for the Sega Genesis. So I was really looking forward to actually trying that, because I never got to play it before. Alicia Dragoon, I think, is going to be a really, really fun game. Beyond Oasis, Castlevania Bloodlines, Comic Zone is a game that I've always wanted to play, but never have had a chance to yet. Contra Hardcore, Earthworm Jim, which I played on the Super Nintendo. And then we've got things like Last Crusader, Landstalker. What was the other one that I was really... Phantasy Star, there we go, Phantasy Star. Never played any of the Phantasy Star games, but I think I'd really, really enjoy them. And then we got like Mega Man Wily Wars. Of course, you got Sonic 1 and 2, Street Fighter, Street of Rage, World of Illusion, which is the 2-player Disney game, and Vector Man and Toe Jam and Earl. So really, there's a lot of cool stuff on here, and I just love these mini consoles in general. So to add, these to my collection, I'm always looking forward to getting some of these. And again, it's a chance to play some of these games really for the first time ever. So that was one of those things that was like a must-have as soon as I got my ad revenue in. So anyway, so there we go. Those are my recent pickups for the last couple of months. I forgot to throw in the D&D Essentials kit, but I've also done a couple of videos with that already by now, and I put it away, and it's just kind of a pain to get to right now. So, but these are the things that I've added over the last few months. Let me know in the comments below what sort of new interesting things have you picked up or added to your collections, be it video games, movies, role-playing games, miniatures, dice, what have you. I always like hearing some of the really awesome things that you guys managed to find, because you guys managed to find some pretty amazing stuff. So let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Take care.